Okay, so for this video, we'll be talking about retail design, specifically for the interiors. So I am Lionel Sanchez. The topic outline for this presentation are the following. First is we will summarize what retail spaces are, the importance of retail spaces, different types of retail, interior design elements involved in a retail space, discuss the ergonomic and furniture, fixture, and equipment or FFE standards for retail spaces, and the requirements for mechanical and lighting systems. And lastly, lessons about retail design. So, retail design in this source was said to have been constructed in North America and spread throughout the world by incorporating activities associated with the term merchandise. So the interior design industry has been very crucial when it comes to retail design. Um, the importance of interiors partnership with products has been emphasized since the inception of retail. Shop spaces actually increased in the middle of the 19th century with the ongoing boom in the market. And it was also worth noting that from that year forward, which was highlighted by its process, ensured that customers could access high quality shops. So of course, the our environments nowadays are undergoing many changes. So it's also very essential to look at both the positive and negative impacts of retail environments. Things such as large chains and internet retailers are some of the um, innovations nowadays. So, on the other hand, the positive impact is that some stores that can innovate will be in a position to retain large chains and online retailers. It's important to note that the retail industry is a uh, with in 2011 is already worth 4.7 trillion dollars. So we can really see the importance of retail interior design in the retail industry. So, for instance, interior designers really make a sizable economic contribution to this industry. So there are six different types of retail spaces. Um, this can be categorized to the following: a single store, of course, commercial establishments that offer only sales of a single product from a single location. And then there's a chain store, possibly a franchise store with numerous locations. A department store, that is a store that carries a broad selection of goods and even brands. A magnet store, a sizable shopping center that serves as an anchor store. A hypermarket, which is a store that sells a wide range of goods and has a floor space of uh, 18,000 581 square meters. And then a supermarket focusing on the sale of groceries and household goods. Planning and designing are a common agenda of which the interior designer should consider, in which they can be able to manipulate the space that is within the retail store. That is why there are some significant guidelines also to consider. So the discussion, the next part of the discussion will deal with the feasibility concept and store merchandising, wherein visual merchandising is under falls under. So when it comes to the visibility and scope, it's very important to investigate and conduct a study that will develop best the concept and will focus on attracting customers' needs, which is very important, which is the primary function of the store to attract the customers. So these are the following: the business idea, what type of business it is, or what the type of product or service it is selling, whether gifts, clothing, jewelry, etc. The product mix, and of course the price point. That is very important for a designer to consider because somehow it will also dictate the way a store is being designed. The types of target customers, the demographics, is it mainly women, is it mainly men, children, etc. And then of course look at the competition, the potential traffic flow of the customers where the store is located, the need for products in the expected location, of course the type of service it will entail, whether it's a full or a self-serve retail space, the location, as I mentioned also earlier, merchandise display strategies, and then of course the budget that the client will reserve for fixture, finishing, inventory, technology, of course, to name the most important. And then we also have store merchandising, the planning and the interior design of a retail space that are heavily influenced by the merchandise to be sold. So there are several key concepts to consider. Merchandising, the sales promotion, which includes the market research, development of the product, the coordination of manufacturing and marketing, and effective advertising. Merchandising blend combines the retailer's merchandise with the decision consumer uses in making selections, and of course there are non-selling space involved also, which are areas not allocated solely for the display or the sale of merchandise, such as the stock room or the office of the manager or store personnel. And then vignettes, display of furniture and accessories that is created to look like an actual room. And of course, visual merchandising, the display of merchandise in store and other locations in the selling space. So the critical issues of that should be considered in retail design are number one, code requirements, sustainable design, security, and safety. Of course, when it comes to code requirements, please consider local building codes for the safety and security of the customer. This is a very important aspect when designing a retail space. Code requirements is code compliance is very crucial. For this reason, interior designers will assist with some code in retail establishments to also accommodate accessibility guidelines, especially for people with wheelchair or people with different abilities. And of course, you also have sustainable design, choosing the right type of light. That is, it will save energy. Interior designer should be aware of his or her duties and responsibilities in assisting the retail store to avoid causing an issue that will also harm the customer. And then security and safety. Customer safety and security should also be a top of priority when designing retail spaces. Um, Architects and interior designers can assist businesses in maintaining and creating areas where customer safety and security can be monitored, such as the presence of CCTV in the location. Very crucial, the location of CCTV in the store. So this is followed by the overview of space allocation, circulation, and of course the traffic pattern. So for space allocation and circulation, the allocation of space in a retail store is really a major concern the retailer and an important part of services that the designer should always provide. So the two types of space allocation are selling space and of course the non-selling space. So in the selling space, there's the most valuable and crucial space, is the front of the store. So display space on the main or central aisles is more valuable than space on peripheral or side aisles. So eye level space is more valuable. Always consider eye level, which is 1.5 meters for the Filipinos, especially for new items. Space on the floor, first floor is generally more valuable than raised or upper floor spaces. So usually new items are also displayed sometimes regularly on the first floor um, or items that are saleable. Space along the aisles is more valuable than the peripheral corner spaces, of course. So usually corner spaces are neglected most of the times, compared to the side aisles. And non-selling space, these include the back storage, allow appropriate space for a desk or office for the store manager in the back area. Determine how the merchandise will be brought into the floor to avoid interfering with the customer traffic. Always remember that one, especially if the merchandise are big, such as appliances. These are very big products. So with a freestanding or center store, provide a space for store delivery trucks to load and keep items separate in the receiving area. Some products will also require preparation before being taken, so please keep that one in mind. Determine how deliveries are also being made. Additional storage may be needed to handle off-season stock that is not sold during the season. Space is also needed for alterations and fitting rooms if the client requires for it. Local codes anyway will determine if a restroom for customer is really required for that space. So if the store is large and has many employees, consider a break room or area for employees to store personal items that needs to also be planned, or perhaps a pantry. So traffic patterns should be established in the layout of the aisles and the positioning of fixtures within the store. So sometimes also the lighting should be very flexible to allow also flexibility in the layout of the spaces, as it may also change over time. So in this final part, we'll discuss furniture, materials, finishes, and mechanical systems. So in terms of furniture, these are some of the common types that are found in retail space: the cash wrap desk, cubes, pedestals, and showcases for the products, freestanding fixtures, the gondolas and cabinets, which are found in the middle peripheral view of the store, an island fixture, which is a three-dimensional counter for the display of accessories such as jewelries, etc. Mannequins, of course, if it is a clothing store. So of course, not needed. Rounders, slat wall fixtures, and then spiral fixtures. So for materials and finishes, interior designers should be knowledgeable about the materials, finishes, and colors so that design elements of the retail space will also entice the customers that they will also would like to. It will also be inviting to potential customers. So that's very important. For mechanical systems, in terms of lighting, you have ambient lighting, accent lighting, case and shelf lighting to highlight the products, then peripheral lighting that is used to attract attention to wall displays and probably special or promo merchandise. So what we've learned so far is that a customer's voice is very extremely important, and it's also very helpful to observe to help determine what needs to change In the design. So in the design, sometimes there's a sense of complacency. That's why design is very crucial. It should be well thought of, and strategy. There should be a sense of urgency. And then